Yo, what's happening? Uh, y'all, it's about 10:45 p.m. Um, literally up in silence right now, and all I can think about right now is just reflecting on all of the adversity that one must overcome to be able to get to the next level. And I mean, I know a thing or two about adversity for damn sure. Adversity for me started at the age of 19. So at the age of 19, I faced life in prison. I'm just college student athlete, and just watching my whole world shattered, come down. Excuse me. Before I even knew what the fuck was going on. Didn't have no blueprint. Didn't know how to move in society. I had zero skills. No mentorship, no coaching to show me the way. And it was just me and God, me and Source. Tried the religion thing. I couldn't get to it because I was being true to it. I was being so true to it that it kept turning, and certain things were just a little bit shaky or wasn't what it was supposed to be. But by all means, my level of commitment and intimacy with the Most High, with God, Source, is there, 100%. But overcoming these obstacles and that adversity and triumph, I'm gonna be real, brother. It's like that's a part of the journey to the T. You imagine 19 years old looking at this judge, and this judge got your life in his hand. I remember like it was yesterday. Bro, I had all these thoughts, suicide, all these thoughts of death, all of this stuff, just turmoil of thinking that my life was doomed, my life was over with. The entire time, everybody that I knew, damn, really just turned against me. Was like, yeah, he done. Put a fork in his ass. Put a fork in his ass. But man, this was where that resilience really, really kicked in, man. And that wasn't the only bullshit that I actually went through. But I had to go through that to be able to get to where I am today. So that little small step of adversity, and I'm calling that small, and that's really major. That's major. But the only reason I'm calling it small is because when I went through the next step of adversity, it was totally different. And I tried to utilize me facing life in prison to kind of like gain some type of upper level or confidence or a sense of courage or boldness that I'm gonna knock this shit out of the park. I'm gonna get over this too. And then essentially that's what happened. But in the moment, in the midst of that, it was more like, man, here we go again. Like I finally got to a point where I get married. At this point, I got a skilled trade that can help me provide 6 figures a year for my family at the time. And I married this young lady. I'll never forget it. I married this young lady. We stayed married for 8 months. And in 8 months, I ended up being homeless, sleeping in my car, taking showers at Planet Fitness. Like literally, I remember we only had 75 cents in my bank account, and I was on that fucking curb saying, what are you gonna do now? I'm 13 and a half hours away from Mississippi. What are you gonna do now? First night, The first night, I'm in a white 2000 Mercury Grand Marquis with 3 big black garbage bags of clothes. I got a 55-inch TV because you already know how it is. Like when you naive and dumb, you want to take stuff from the relationship as if like it's gonna be some type of value. Like you bought that or you had that, so you gonna take it with you. The hell I was gonna do with a 55-inch TV? Nothing. But the embarrassment of seeing my ex-wife, a person she was sleeping with, the landlord and a police officer escorting my ass out of our home. Brutal, you know? I mean, it was like a gut check. It was all ego, though. It was like, man, no way you gonna let this happen. You ain't that dude. You that dude. But that part of adversity, I didn't even realize I was gonna come out of that shit. But in the midst of that, I said, okay, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do now? My parents was telling me to come home. I remember my mom was trying to get me to come home. I said, Mom, I'm not coming home. I'm not coming home until I finish this book. So I decided to write a book, turn catastrophe into a masterpiece. I wrote this book in 3 weeks. I want to say it was 3 weeks and 3 days, nonstop. 119 pages, man, all spirit. I didn't have no money. I didn't have, my phone was even up. I had to utilize Wi-Fi to be able to write and self-publish this book. So I used to go to the library, stay in the library all day until it closed. I used to go to Barnes and Nobles, and as soon as Barnes and Noble closed, I would, shut down shop and potentially probably go to the library late at night and use the Wi-Fi on the outside. Went to McDonald's using Wi-Fi, all of this. But this was all a part of that journey, and this was all that adversity, man, at a very young age. So I'm coming from 19 years old, facing life in prison. Now I'm 24, 25, got married, and went through a divorce, made a brutal decision. Now I'm going through divorce in 8 months. Picked my whole life up from Mississippi, moved to Virginia. Chasing a woman. These are valuable lessons that not only, you, me, the next person, this is the type of shit that comes with a level of success. But if you give in, your ass is doomed. You doomed. So don't give in. Don't quit. You could utilize some of the stuff that I did. I was trying to figure out, how can I get better? What is it that I didn't know or that I didn't do that put me in this situation? What was my mindset? How did I oversee this pitfall? How did I make a decision to be where I was at 19? How did I make a decision to be where I was at 25? Overcoming this adversity, these triumphs, this is the shit that we gotta do, man. This is the lesson learned. This is a pivotal moment for my life. You probably going through something right now. And you need to understand, you going through that is only shaping and creating you, and understand that pressure bursts pipes, but it also creates diamonds. So if you can sustain where you're trying to go, you can sustain that pressure, you can take those licks and keep going, you can just gain knowledge and wisdom over time while you're going through this shit, it's gonna be all good. So, like my boy Soul said, call that shit to the good. All the bad stuff, the divorce, you becoming a felon, you losing your job, call that to the good. Now I call it to the good because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And the level of adversity that I've had to face to this day, I owe it all to God, man. I owe it all to Source. Because I know it was shaping me to become this dude that I am today. So, allow that adversity to mold you, shape you, become better. This is how you become that 2.0 version of yourself. Become that man of interest. Learn different techniques of resilience, mindsets. Cut off the fucking music that you're listening to. I remember when I was riding before I got a divorce. I remember I moved back from Texas because I was working in Texas to Hampton, Virginia, and I found a job that was 3 hours away from the crib. And I only did this because my ex-wife and her family was on my ass about coming home or whatnot. So I drove 3 hours there, worked a 10-hour shift, drove 3 hours back just to be in the bed with my ex-wife and talk to her for about 45 minutes just to eat, take a shower, and be knocked out and get my head back up at 3 a.m. in the morning to head out. I did this shit for like 2.5, 3 months. 2.5, 3 months, found a job closer to where we was at in Norfolk, 20 minutes away. I quit that job, and as soon as I got on the interstate, the other company called me back and said, hey man, we're not gonna hire you. Now I'm assed out. Talking about adversity. And that's when it all started. When the pockets got empty, she was done. But I needed that. You need what you're going through right now. Without you going through what you're going right now, you can't get to that next level. You can't make the adjustments. Now, if you continue to make that if you keep making those habitual habits after you going through this, now you're going to find yourself being right back in that same place, or you're going to end up being in something worse. It's a test. It's a test. Ain't nowhere around it. Ain't nowhere around it. So brace yourself, get around good people. Literally do a self-assessment of who you are, figure out what it is that you need to know about yourself, your attributes, how strong you are, how weak you are, what is it what makes you tick, like how are you wired, how do you solve problems, bro? Like how do you tend to interact with people? Like you need to get down to this nuts and bolts of who you are, what you are. Gotta do the work. So overcome adversity, keep going, and I'm here for you. We all here for you. We're praying for everybody. So let's make this shit work. Let's make this shit work. Good night.